Fucking nerds, man. Carl and Brendan here from Games, Brains, and Headbanging Life. gbhblofficial for short, and it's our favourite time. It's reaction time, as we are going to be checking out Men of Gododdin by the Wolves of Avalon. Now, I don't know this band, except that I know Brendan wrote a review for this album. Absolutely lovely, and I saved it to my check this out at some point when you finally can in the car, and haven't got to it yet. Sorry, Wolves of Avalon, because I know Brendan loves it a lot, and I know you were very appreciative of his words. Thank you as well for doing that thing that we love, which is actually sharing our goddamn review on your social media. Thank you for that. It's much appreciated. You've got to put the effort in, and you put the effort in too. But yeah, I'll leave it up to Brendan to offer their thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, what you said is obviously true. I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic album. I didn't go into it. Do you know why I mean, we get a lot of review requests, don't we? So like sometimes you pick, and I picked this one because I've been listening to a lot of like death and deathcore and stuff like that, and I fancied myself some power style metal. That's what it was. And I don't know a lot about the Wolves of Avalon pre doing this album. I knew they existed as a band. I feel like the name, but then I also feel like it's quite a power metal-y name. So it could have probably been the name of a song by another band, or do you know what I mean? Like, so I was like, oh, the Wolves of Avalon. But the minute I read that name in the review thing, I was like, that's power metal, surely. You know, so that's why I listened to it. And yeah, it blew me away, man. I don't know a lot about the guys other than what I found out for the review. The album's called Why Gododdin. It came out on the 25th of November, so we're only talking about a week ago based on the day that we're recording this video.
Yeah.
It's got some very, very talented people. They've do a lot of work with guests. You know, I was looking when I was doing the review, you know, they've had everyone like from Primordial to Tark to Forefather to Venom Inc. Like lots of people have been involved. They have folk element. It's a big power vibe, you know. It's epic metal. And I listened to it and I just found the whole thing to be quite right. We know, right, power metal, epic metal, folk metal, call it what you like, right? We know that means it's sometimes difficult to maybe stand out from a crowd because we know what we're going to hear, right?
Yeah.
I felt like these guys captured everything I wanted to hear. They didn't change the formula up to a point where I was like, oh my God, these guys are doing something different in power metal. But they just did power metal like perfectly for me. I was like, yes, this is the shit I want to fucking hear. You know, I feel exhilarated. I feel excited. I feel ready for war. Like, you know what I mean? This is the shit. And to be honest with you, I love so many songs on this album. I really do. It does what I want. It's got a massive, like, nice 8-9 minute epic ending to it. I would love to play that, but there just isn't. It's not on YouTube. The album itself, I've been desperately scouring. Like, it's not on Apple Music just yet. I hope it does come soon. You know, they're not a big band, these guys, you know, but I feel like they're a band of big people that just haven't necessarily made like a massive splash just yet.
Yeah, I mean, we always do this, but obviously the metrics that you get on YouTube are hard to kind of go by. But, you know, 77 subscribers with, at the current time of recording, 937 views. So certainly not getting out there. Maybe we can try and do a tiny little bit here to help that. Yeah. I will note, though, looking at the track credits, something caught my eye in the track credits. Can you see what it is that might have caught my eye? It is a couple of lines down, and it is vocal and screams from Fernworthy Stone Circle. What? Okay, all right. That's created an image in my head. Yeah, I mean,
but if you keep looking, we got the words like violins.
Yeah, there's a lot separate people here in the song, because the first one was like Metatron, vocals and lyrics, host, vocals, and then it's like V, vocal and screams from Fernworthy Stone Circle. I'm like, does everybody just sing? Is that it?
I think that they I don't know, like, is it more of a project potentially? You know, it's predominantly Metatron and host are the Wolves of Avalon, but they have other people that are regular kind of repeating people in the band. Like, that's the thing as well, you know, so they're not like they could easily tour and stuff like that, wouldn't be an issue. But they also, like, song by song, I feel like each song is like pieced together, and they will bring in the right additional instrumentalist or whatever it is that they need to make that song the right song for them. which I think is a good move. You know what I mean? They're not saying, all right, well, we got the 4 of us or the 2 of us or the 3 of us, so we'll only do what we can do. They're
Yep.
going, no, this song needs a violin. We need to find the right violinist. This song needs an additional harsher vocal, so we've got to find the right one. It's a good move, man. Focus on the song, innit? Like, do you know what I mean? Make it as perfect as you can.
Okay, let's stop chattering and let's get on with this then. In 3, 2, 1, go. Not quite the melody I expected. Fucking nerves, man. Is that nonsense? Undecided. Yeah, I mean, I can certainly see why it perked your ears up because on that one track alone, there's something odd, like odd about the whole, that song specifically. I mean, I can't talk about the album. I can talk about this song. Like at first, I was actually worried that, oh shit, I don't know if I'm going to have a lot to say here. I'm just going to be like, yeah, this is cool, this is good, sort of power metal with black influences here and there, and that would be about it. But happily, the weirdness at times kind of got me sort of thinking, had a little thoughts running from her. So let's start with some of the more obvious stuff first. I think the back and forth of the vocal lines, the specific statements being said back and forth are very, very cool. Very, very well done. A clear definition between voices, which also still sit within the darker guttural territory. Lyrically, you know, it makes me laugh. Not in laughing at them kind of thing or like that, but because it's so like, as I jokingly said, nerds, you know. What the fuck is a tatterdemalion? Tatterdemalion. What the fuck is that?
I don't know.
Is that a Lord of the Rings thing, people? Is it? I don't know. I just see them like that. I'm like that. But like Saxon Invaders, Rhineland Whores, Wolves of Albion, Joyous Dead, Men of Gododdin, Slaughter's Din. You know, this is like, it sounds sillier, but when it's put like that and one saying it and then the other saying that, I thought it came across really good, especially when you got that kind of like, what is almost like an old school kind of guitar riff in the background, kind of going along, you know, and the clarity, because one thing I maybe didn't expect was it to sound so clear, like to hear the instruments quite nicely. I was expecting something rawer, something a bit dark, nastier, maybe less well produced. But actually, it's all very, very, very clear, very, very, very listenable. When it goes into the sort of blacker territories that it briefly kind of dives into, you do kind of get that rawer sound there. But I feel like that's like a little nod to black metal more than anything else. Whether or not it's like a purpose thing or an accidental thing, it still exists. It's weird. It's a weird track because it does flow quite nicely, but then you get these different moments. So like overall, like I think like you got some nice chunky riffs there. You got a good rhythm that switches and takes and goes in these little journeys, particularly when it's leading through that sort of what's it almost like poetic style where it's like three or four words said before the next section and stuff like that. So it's like a fucking poem in a way more than anything else, which is cool. But then you get like the violin bits and like they're on one part, I think like, God, that's really off-putting. But then I like in a sense that it kind of, because you're so used to the sort of rhythm you've been getting with the guitars and the drums and the vocals, that you have these violin bits and it's like, the fuck is that? Why the fuck is that there? Why is that there? And like, it's not like, and then like as it settles, it's like, no, it's fine. And I like it and it's adding a new layer and it fits and I enjoy it and so on, but I can't get past that weirdness overall. So that's the part I'm really undecided on, whether or not I like that compared to everything else. The highlight though, and it's probably similar to other reactions we've done, where it had that just been it. You know, here's these guttural vocals back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with this kind of chunky old school guitar metal thing going on with some violin thrown in, and then we have these black metal bursts and so on. I'd have been like, yeah, it's good. But I think what really elevates it is that clean chorusy kind of clean vocals bit, not chorus because there isn't really one, but clean. Well, there is, but like that clean, that kind of changes it up enough for me to make me go, oh, okay. And I really like that clean, the clean singing. Who does it list? Oh yeah, James J.M. Marinus, doing a lot of stuff there, doing those clean vocals as well. And I think that really changes stuff up because it's not long either. It's not like here's a really long segment of clean singing, and then you're going to get bored of that or whatever and so on. It's like here's just almost a line basically, but it just happens to have this kind of epic kind of feel to it to add more towards it. It's weird. It's weird, Brendan.
It is weird.
I like it, but it's weird.
It's you know, like there's nothing you can do because we're reacting to a song. You know, like whereas the album is I guess it's a concept album. Is it I don't know if it goes down as concept or historical. So like just looking back at my review to remind myself of some of the details, like so firstly it's Britain's history that they do, which is quite interesting.
All the raping and murdering makes sense now.
Saxons and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
battles against the Northern Anglo tribes, that sort of thing. But actually, everything I believe it's the whole album, but definitely the song. But I believe it's the whole album are actual songs written about these ancient poems that were written by a Welsh bard called Aneurin. I might be saying his name wrong.
Right.
And then they were translated by a person called, not necessarily for this album. I think they've been translated more historically by a guy called David Sylvan Evans. And then this is what this does. So when I spoke about the band at the beginning and I said they were power metal, I do think if you listen to the whole album, you would come out going, that's more in line with a power metal album.
Fair enough.
But across the album, there are songs that lean more towards blacker, songs that are more folk, songs that are more, I think some people put it down as like a pagan kind of metal sort of thing. You know what I mean?
It's a common problem that we run into when we want to showcase and we want to do a reaction to smaller artists and bands who maybe aren't getting the love or respect, but we've come across and thought they were really, really good and we want to do reaction, is that we often run to this where it's kind of like, oh, no, it's the whole package that's amazing. And we've got to do a reaction to one individual song. So you try and pull out one that you love the most.
And I mean, these ones, like, again, we will all have suffered from. Like, I really do like this song a lot. I think it's exciting and a bit different and quirky, and I enjoy that.
It's quirky, yeah.
But if I had been picking a song, this would not have been my favorite song on the album. But this is the only one they've done on YouTube.
That as well. Availability is hugely important.
You know what I mean? So, like, as I've even in the review for this, I point out the fact that, wow, this is a real pit mover, this one. Like, which shows the fact that the songs around it are maybe not necessarily always this sort of style and structure. But look, I think they're exciting. I find them to be very exciting. I find the album to be an immensely exciting album. I do enjoy this song, and I enjoy every song on the album, and they are all quite unique as well. There are different things you can take from each one of them. I think the chorus kind of bit that you mentioned, the cleaner part in this, it's that sort of style appears more in a lot of the other songs, and that's where I guess that chorus is probably the closest in this song to the power metal traditional vibe, like that I kind of hinted at. So
I think you kind of nailed it there in a sense as well. Like, because if you were to try and sell, you sell the band on the power metal vibe. If you try to sell this track specifically, people will be like, "Are you sure?" That kind of thing. So I think that's an important distinction to make. Here's the thing: is I do like it. I do, weirdly enough, think it was, for all those elements, it was catchy. I can kind of we finished this song a couple of minutes ago already and talking here, and I can hear that rhythm in my head. That's going to be stuck there for a little while. So I can't say I didn't dislike. I didn't. I have to say I liked it. It certainly created enough intrigue, enough, as you say, quirkiness going on it to make me go, okay. I'm gonna insist, because of the whole album of the year final lists this year as well. There's a couple that you reviewed 10 out of 10 that I need to work on. From Sunday, I'm working like late. I've got to drive and I've got to drive back. I'm just going to focus on my time in these albums. So I'll try and do this one either Sunday afternoon or Sunday night on the drive back. Because normally it takes a good 35, 40 minutes, which is normally the perfect length for an album.
Yeah.
So there's no excuses. Okay. That was Men of Gododdin. Men of Gododdin. Am I saying that right?
One more odd in there. Gododdin.
Brendan can say this one. There you go. It's
Wolves of Avalon.
Wolves of Avalon, Men of Gododdin. For fuck's sake, I probably said it right at the start and I've screwed it all up. So just giving up. Let us know what you think of the track in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?